I can't stress enough, personally, my perspective on having unity. I've been active since about maybe 2001, but really, um, really kind of putting my feet in the dirt, if you will, um, in 2007, more so. So essentially, I had about 6 years of training, if you will, political education, experiences, interactions, examples, that sort of thing. I kind of endured for at least 6 years, right? I experienced a lot in those times. I met a lot of people. I talked to a lot of people. I had a lot of perspectives to pick up from. As I've stressed previously in other talks, and Ben Deli Tayumba, the co-owner, uh, founder, if you will, of Pan African Connection, had a big piece of that. Um, so he was a big piece of that really helped shape what my political perspective is, even at this particular point. I think that's important to mention. Um, '07, essentially, we was on the people's lunch counter, right? In '08, we picked up Gorilla Mainframe, GMF, as it's commonly referred to, known. Uh, that's kind of what we picked up at that banner. Before all of that, GMF, Gorilla Mainframe, was an underground group. It was an underground group, okay, meaning that we identified as being a part of that, but it wasn't publicly known. It was a very intimate group, meaning that someone had to pick you in order for you to be a part of it, if you follow what I'm stating. But '08, we decided to make it public, and with in saying that, that doesn't necessarily mean that we allowed folks that wanted to come on and join to do it. Hell, when Rakim Balagoon got out of prison in 2018 after beating the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, we had so many requests from different folks around the country. We did not allow folks to join. Um, you know, at some point in time, I was against that, and that decision was made by uh, Eric Caffrey, Uhuru Balagoon, Robert Taylor, Rakim. Rakim. Those folks made their decision not to necessarily uh, go into a national thing. Now, so more so than anything else, I respect that, because once your group becomes a national phenomenon, it's kind of hard to kind of keep to the original ideas of the group, unless you're traveling around city to city, that sort of thing, talking to people, having these conversations, and making sure they're staying aligned with the original philosophies of the foundation of the group, etc. And so it was decided, as it was in '07, that hey, '08, that we stay a local group. Totally grateful for that. With that being stated, um, at least from my perspective, unity to the forefront. And what this means is essentially is that those folks that we have worked with since '07 up until this point, now currently, it's my goal. If I had a goal of anything in this particular movement, as far as the movement's concerned, it is to pull those folks closer while maintaining our current allegiance, our current situation, and promoting our current situation. Like, I really want to pull some of those folks who hadn't talked to each other in years and years, pull those folks together and begin having, these sort of kind of conversations that's really a healing situation. I think we can afford to heal one another I think that should be our goal essentially. That's definitely my goal is to heal my people, my groups, my organizations that I've been affiliated with it, and use that as an avenue to help platform our current endeavors or use it as an outlet to help assist what we got going on. Everybody that I have mentioned that have been a part of groups that we have been affiliated with since '07 up until this current point, all have spent time in Highland Hills in one shape or form or another. All have spent time in Highland Hills. We've been very dedicated. Um, some folks would think now, based upon our current actions, currently, if they wasn't aware, now they become aware of our activities in the Highland Hills community under the banner of community movement builders, and commissary is very necessary, and the community engagement specialist. And to put context on the community engagement specialist, community engagement specialist initial phase was with the guerrilla mainframe and the Black Empowerment Movement. That was phase one. Phase two has been commissary is very necessary and community movement builders. I want you to know that commissary is very necessary has been there through the first phase and the second phase, even though during the first phase it didn't necessarily have a name per se. Um, it's been there since the start of it. Um, and so I say that all to say is that a number of people that we've had the opportunity to work with, you know, in life, people have disagreements in life, people get jobs, people go to school, people move on. I think where we fail oftentimes, those of us who decide to ride it out and maintain our allegiance in this particular movement, is oftentimes we don't keep up with folks who've made contributions in one shape or form or another. And we have to essentially do a better job at maintaining, those relationships or repairing those relationships or keeping our egos to the side. And I know that's hard. We've all had some personal things or agendas or personal things in one form or another. Um, you know, but I think that we have to be able to rise against that. And that's really kind of what the purpose of this conversation is now, is that my goal is to have folks, to heal folks as we heal the community, to humble folks as we humble the community, but also motivate folks as we motivate the community. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but it definitely does to me as I see it. As I see it, I think it's absolutely important that the next man or woman that's actively engaged in this process stick by each other. Number one, with loyalty. Number two, with commitment. And number three, with charity, right? We have to be charitable to each other. We have to be giving to each other. And we have to give love, man. And that's what essentially that we have to be able to do. That's what folks are counting on us on. And if we say that we are committed to a specific community, as we have said since 2014 in Highland Hills, if we said that we want to attempt to uplift the community, as we have said, if we said that we want to honor the elders, as we have with Marvin Crenshaw, Fahim Minka, Charles Beasley, Skip Shockley, if we said that we wanted to uphold these individuals, Charles Hillman, who have transitioned, who have passed away, and who we have ultimately picked up their mantle, their flag, their movement, and I'm talking about the previous generation. If we have picked up their movement and have carried forward, then we have to be able to move in a way that is righteous, move in a way that is respectful. And I know it's difficult being young people, as we have been, and obviously those of us, we make many mistakes on how we do things and how we function and how our perception attitudes are and how often we are misled by our own desires. I'm telling us is that we absolutely positively have to be better than that. Absolutely. We have to be better than that. Absolutely. In one way or a form of another, we know what it's like to deal with governmental oppression. And I'm not necessarily talking in terms of black people per se. Obviously, I'm breaking it down to the minute level. I'm talking about GMF, Gorilla Mainframe, and its affiliates. We know what government oppression feels like. We know what targeting feels like. We know what the isolation feels like. So if we targeted, if we've been isolated because we choose to take on the name of Balagoon, because we choose to commit ourselves to a community as we have, our minute interactions, our minute way of disagreement, our minute way of minor way of or lack of understanding thereof should not prevail above the ultimate goal. With that being stated, we have work to do. We have commitments to honor. We have elders to highlight, and we have folks that's dependent upon us to stay committed to our struggle for which we've been fighting for. And obviously, if you want to understand the goal of all of this, the goal of all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is to empower the people, the 20,000 people that's in Highland Hills, and to go further beyond that to empower the 50,000 people that is in the district, and to go beyond that to empower the hundreds of thousands of people that's in Senatorial District 23, and to go beyond that to empower this entire area. But we have to start somewhere. And so we choose to identify Highland Hills and the 20,000 people that's in Highland Hills. And obviously, we'll go beyond that to the entire district. And obviously, we'll go beyond that to the House and Senate district. And obviously, we'll go beyond that to the congressional district. And obviously, we'll go beyond that. The goal is to be able to have folks determine their own destinies and their own will, and also do to be able to propose an alternative position, an alternative perspective. In addition to that, in addition to that, there's nothing wrong with demonstrating, protesting, and things of that nature. And that has always been a part of the movement, and that always will be. And even beyond this particular movement here in this country, That is that will always be a part of it. But we have to put ourselves in positions to make decisions for the best interests of the community. We have to be able to put ourselves in those positions. We have to. We have to be able to support the independence of the community at that same junction. So it's twofold. Putting ourselves in position to make the decision, but at the same time, allowing ourselves to assert our independence and supporting that independence. It's twofold. Join with me. Let's make this happen. That's the reason for all of this.